Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Ummah Unplugged podcast with our first guest, the Palestinian King. Today we've got someone who's unapologetically real, raw and reflective. You probably know him as Palestinian King or Zaid Shadid. Whether it's out calling it justice or dropping hard truth or bringing some needed humor to the timeline, he's built a space that speaks out to the heart of the Ummah. For our first question, we would like to ask Zaid Shadid, before we get into the deep stuff, how would you describe the work you do and what you're about?
First off, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And barakallahu feekum for inviting me towards this podcast. And wallahi, it's a very beautiful initiative that you boys are doing. And may Allah bless you on this way, on the journey.
Okay.
So, where can I start? So, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, Allah has blessed me to be in a position where I can work in various roles. For example, my first role is I work as a family time worker in supporting the community justice support system. Within the family time work, my work is conducted around supporting families and children, building, very good establishment of connections between children and families and maintaining the good interactions. Because subhanAllah, we live in a world where children are in out of home care facilities, where they don't see their families more often. And my role is to support parents by giving them parenting skills and also establishing good connections between their children. Because when their children go home from school, what do they come back to at the home care facilities? They come back to feeling alone, feeling like they need someone to talk to. And that's where my role comes in, to be that impact in their life, to be a better person as well, and to also have that support system around them emotionally, and also making sure that they're safe, making sure that their well-being is put in place for them as well. So inshallah, that is the beautiful role that I do with family time. And also, I'm also a youth advocate for Fitya Center. Fitya Center is established from the year 2008 in April, where we brought a lot of families together, a lot of teenagers, because we think about the future. We think about establishing a framework for the youth to come in together and embrace their identity as young Muslims. We want the youth to think about their future because the future is in their hands. We want to establish a very good, environment for them, a halal environment, most importantly, to have fun and stuff. And as well as why I'm here today at the podcast is because of my, influence in the social media page, where I, relate towards the youth in resonating with them in content that relates to them as being young Muslims in Australia. Yeah, of course, 100%. Alhamdulillah, that's it, man. To be honest. Yeah.
MashaAllah, the work that you do is great, MashaAllah.
Barakallah feek, man.
I wanted to ask, the name Palestinian King, how'd that come about?
Subhanallah. So, throughout my journey as a young Muslim, casual, just normal person, subhanallah, this whole Instagram thing, I never thought I would be getting into it and making videos and all that. There was a point in my life where it sparked the journey towards, getting closer towards Allah Azza wa Jal. But I'll give you a quick rundown. So pretty much I had a weight transformation where I was overweight. I was like 125 kilos, subhanallah. I lost a lot of weight. I came down to 86 kilos, And well, right now I'm still trying to get back to that weight. But anyway, so
it's a working process.
Yeah. And subhanallah, when I was like, this is all from the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. I'm not trying to think of myself as something better than anyone. No. I'm remaining humble as always, and trying to inspire others along the way of my journey. When I lost a lot of weight, it impacted me to post more about fitness online. I used to use a lot of music, I'll be honest, in my fitness videos and stuff. And it is something that I do regret, I'm not proud about. And alhamdulillah, I made a shift from it, towards making Islamic content, Islamic fitness reels and stuff with Nasheed. And then after that, there was a key moment. Look, I wasn't a well-practicing Muslim, I'll be honest, I wasn't a perfect person, I used to lack in salah. I was disobedient to my parents, subhanallah, and I was disobeying, Allah Azza wa Jal. There's a point in people's life where they go through a phase where they're trying to connect towards Allah Azza wa Jal, but Allah has to put them through trials and struggles and tests, and that is the purpose of a Muslim. The purpose of a Muslim is to struggle in this world, because we know that the one-way ticket is back to Allah Azza wa Jal, back to His paradise, and we must struggle. And that's what it says in the Quran. We created mankind to struggle, and we must learn to be resilient, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting you in that test because He loves you. He wants to see what you can become for Him only. Because at the end of the day, bro, when we return to Allah Azza wa Jal, you're not taking your money with you, you're not taking your luxuries with you, nothing. You come back to Allah naked, and that is the true reality. SubhanAllah, when I went to Umrah for the first time and I was wearing the ihram, it was a completely weird feeling, to be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
We all get that
feeling.
It was the first Umrah, subhanAllah, bro. But yeah, I'll continue on halal towards, I don't want to take too much time, but following the last moment where it sparked my journey is when, subhanAllah, my mother, she was diagnosed with a tumor in her brain. So, and that time where I went through a lot of struggles and stuff and trying to understand my identity, trying to stay true to my creator, and being a true Muslim in my daily lives. At that time when my mother had she was diagnosed with a tumor, I was really I was waking up to reality. I was like, look, man, this could be the last time I spend with my cherishful moments with my mum, my cherishful moments with my dad, because you won't know something unless you lose it. You won't know the value of it, because Allah Azza wa Jal can take anything from you. But today we live in a society where we're just basically normalized around working every day, getting that income and, providing for our families and whatever it is. But we don't focus on what is around us today, our friends, our family, which means a lot to us, subhanAllah. And at that time, on the day of my mum's surgery, I was invited to Punchbowl Mosque. And to be honest, I never liked going to the youth programs. I never liked to go anywhere. I was invited to Punchbowl Mosque for a talk, and that talk drastically changed my life, bro. SubhanAllah. It was about, being true towards your creator, spending time with your family, and being, an example for the youth. And I never thought as myself to be an example for the youth, to be honest. And I actually asked the brother, his name is Zayd Umran, may Allah be blessed with you, brother, and may Allah, grant you Jannat al-Firdaus, bi'idhnillah. So he let me actually give a talk about the importance of parents. When I gave the talk to the boys, I always like to prepare before I give a talk, right? And it was my first talk I ever done. It was like a short 5-minute, bro. It was just like a reminder to the boys. Like, hey, boys, subhanAllah, today I was meant to be here. I wasn't meant to be with my mother at her surgery. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fated for me to be here, so I can give you this reminder of being obedient towards your parents, learning the importance of being with your parents. And yeah, man, after that talk, it's just all the boys were came up to me. They're like, subhanAllah, I never knew you can talk like that. You know what I mean? Because I was always a quiet kid, bro. I wasn't. I like to just talk little and then khalas, get to the point and just whatever. But subhanAllah, man, it just drastically changes. Yeah.
Start somewhere.
Yeah.
No, bro, it's that change that really matters.
Of course.
Some people learn the hard way, some people learn the easy way. But
of course, man.
It's really doesn't matter how you get there, so long you get to that end point is what really matters. Alhamdulillah, man, Allah barik for where you are now. Allah bless you.
Yeah, subhanAllah, you don't understand the value of parents until you've been tested with them.
That's true, bro.
It's like you being disobedient to your parents. You don't see the impacts until, let's say, your mum gets sick.
Force.
Or your mum, or your dad, or your father, or your grandfather, or whatever is going through a struggle, and you realize that how much how much help they need from you. Yeah. It's just not just being obedient. It's just you being obedient is helping them.
Of course.
Because as you grow older, they also grow older. So it's not like 100%. They're getting younger by the day.
Of course.
They're struggling. They need that help. our obedience is what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now if you think about it, if you're being obedient to your parents, you're being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're pleasing Him. So it's like a journey as well. Your relationship with your parents reflect your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, So it's very important to have these thoughts in your mind. And reflecting this, you see a lot in the youth today, they don't understand that concept. If you're obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll be obedient to your parents. It reflects, they go hand in hand. So having that experience will show people, if this happens to me, how will I react? If my parent was, let's say, sick or has passed away, how will I, as a person be now? So it's really, really important to have these experiences in life to share to people.
Of course.
Because once they realize, once they connect with that, they'll understand, okay, now, you know what, if my parent went through this, I don't want to regret this as well,
Of course, 100%.
I don't want my parent to have passed away with them not being pleased with me, because that's a big burden now, So subhanAllah, it's a very, very, very important topic, just having that, just being pleased, your parents being pleased with you is a big ni'am, Not a lot of people have that in the
Of course, man, of course.
It actually works both ways as well. Like it was saying, the pleasure of Allah lies in the pleasure of our parents. Likewise, the displeasure of Allah lies in the displeasure of our parents. Famous hadith, sakhatul rabbi fi sakhatul walid, the displeasure, the anger of Allah lies in the anger of the father. And then we know the other one as well, al-jannatu tahta aqdam al-ummahat, Jannah lies beneath the feet of the mother. Like those are very,
it's very important hadith, man.
Important hadith.
Have there been low points in your iman, and how did you pull through?
Subhanallah, bro. There have been a lot of low points where I would struggle to understand the concept of, getting closer towards Allah Azza wa Jal. Where because when I was growing up, I was just told to pray 5 times a day, stay away from this haram, go towards the halal and all that. But I struggled to find a group of brothers that would push me towards getting closer towards Allah Azza wa Jal. That is something that still carries me on towards today, towards, the journey of Iman. Company. Wallahi al-azim, bro, I'm telling you, company is the most important thing for me. Wallahi al-azim, the boys that are around me are going to be what my future holds. Let's say, the memo of, be around 4 practicing brothers that pray, 5 times a day, you'll be the 5th. Be around millionaires, whatever. I don't like that quote, but whatever. Be around millionaires, 4 millionaires, you'll be the 5th. If you be around 4 idiots, you're going to be the 5th idiot. You know what I mean? So it's really about your company as well. But towards the journey of Iman, it is a lonely journey where you have to understand it, where you put the willpower in yourself that you are going to connect with the Quran. You're going to connect with Allah Azza wa Jal, understanding His attributes, His names. Allah is Al-Fattah. What does Al-Fattah mean? He's the opener of doors. He opens doors unexpectedly for you. And let me share with you a little story. I won't take too much on the story time, but when I went to Umrah, subhanAllah, Umrah was something very important for me. Because I'd never been to Umrah. It was the first time. It was a journey of cleansing your soul, cleansing your heart. And when you do Umrah, your whole sins are forgiven after that, right? And there was a specific dua. This was in the time of doing the youth night at Fitya Center and all that. May Allah continue to bless the center with more blessings for the youth and stuff. But anyway, I asked one specific dua from Allah Azza wa Jalla when I was at the Kaaba. I was like, Ya Allah, use me as a guide, as a tool for the Ummah. Use me as a guide for someone to be Muslim. Bro, this is the miracles of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Not even 4 weeks later, I went back to Jordan after that. And it was in the time of my brother's wedding or something. And then there's a guy that messaged me after I posted this reel about being at Umrah or whatever. And he's like, MashaAllah, Islam looks like a beautiful religion. It looks like a beautiful community. You bring everyone together. And I want to understand, how would you get closer towards God? And then I told him how to get closer towards God. I told him the basics of Islam, the 5 principles, which is Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Sawm, Ramadan, Hajj al-Bayt, And everything was cool between us. We talked, we enjoyed it. Everyone was enjoying whatever. Not everyone, but him anyway. So he was enjoying it and whatever. And then he goes to me, on the 6th week of when I was in Jordan. He's like, bro, I want to accept my Shahada today. And I was like, bro, Allah, I wish we can do it today, but because I was so busy, man. I had something going on. So then I told him, look, listen, when I come back to Australia, we can do it. And this brother is in France. He's not from Australia, bro. And this is how powerful social media is that when you spread, meaningful content that benefits people, and then they understand more about, the beauty of Islam. Use your social media for a benefit. Don't use it to, make stupid content that, that doesn't benefit. It's not, not good use or whatever. So when I came back to Australia and I done the shahada with the brother, it was online Zoom. I showed it in front of the boys, my students that I teach and stuff. And bro, they were like shocked. I'm like, how can this happen? I'm like, this is the miracles of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is the guidance of Allah, because Allah guides whom He loves. Allah guides whom He wills to be through the guidance of Islam, And we are just the means. We are just the people that spread the da'wah. So yeah, I mean, that's how I projected my faith towards, being true towards my identity as a Muslim, towards Allah Azza wa Jal as well, because all we do is for the sake of Allah, man. So yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, subhanAllah, even like the social media, the whole aspect of social media, it's so powerful. Like even when I post content, it goes from somewhere who's in Australia to someone who's across the other side of the world, and it can really hit them. That message can really hit into their heart. So just that power of social media just goes very, very far. It can benefit so many people. Like you see all these online dawah, people who give dawah in the street, and they're in the street, but yet someone from, let's say, the other side of the world is benefiting from it. You've got so many of these content creators who do so, and just because they are showing this and how they, let's say, answer questions, you also learn from it. It's not just being in the moment. It's just the message goes so far away from, just say, from here Australia to somewhere in Norway. So it's so powerful, social media, if used in the right way, but also can go in the wrong way.
That's true.
If you have music, one view is one sin. And people have millions of views. Now imagine how many sins you're accumulating. And it goes the opposite way. Imagine you have a video and someone does something good action from it. You get that deed from it. And you never knew the person in the first place.
That's true, man.
So it's so powerful. SubhanAllah, just that whole, social media platform.
Of course, man. It drastically changes someone's life that you don't even know that's going to happen.
SubhanAllah. The person you've never met before, only a profile picture that you see.
Sure. SubhanAllah, the other day, I went to Punchwa Mosque. These two young brothers came up to me. They're like, look, man, I'm so happy to see you today. Like, honestly, I've been watching your videos when I was in high school and stuff. And wallahi, like, it actually changed me to lean on towards, being closer to my deen and towards being closer towards Allah. You actually impacted me to understand the concept of Islam, and subhanallah, man, it's beautiful, man. Wallah, it's all from the sake of Allah, all from the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. He blesses you onto the journey of being a da'i or whatever it is. Yeah.
So it's very, very powerful.
From both a personal and professional perspective, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing the young or the youth Muslim today?
Okay. Bismillah. So the challenges that I see happening within the youth from a professional perspective and my own personal perspective is that the youth struggle to embrace their identity as young Muslims today. There's not a lot of communities around them that are trying to enrich their level of understanding towards, being closer towards the deen. Because if you just put a book in front of them to go read, they don't want to read that book. They don't want. They want someone to be with them. They want someone to, guide them towards, what the meaning of deen is. And also to create halal, fun environments for them to have fun, with the brothers alongside with them. As I said, the company is really important. It matters about who the people that you are around, because some youth that I see today and when I was younger, I wasn't around the right crowd. I wasn't around the right type of people to make me a better Muslim or make me a better person in society. Subhanallah. So that is one of the biggest challenges as well, the company. But I feel like the major problem that we see today is the addiction towards social media. When youth struggle and they have a lot of, things that they went through, they express it towards on social media. They express their feelings. And I always tell everyone, do not use social media to express your feelings. Social media is a marketing tool. It is a marketing tool to market, products and market all of that. It is not to market your feelings, It's to also market a message that sends towards someone that you don't know, a message towards someone that can impact their lives. And also social media, there's a study that was saying that, social media impacts the self-worthiness of young children, thinking of getting the approval of others, getting people to think about them, they care about more of what looks are from themselves, they care about what other people think of them, you know what I mean? Subhanallah. And there's a lot of sensitive addictions that people are not talking about today, even mashayikh, which is an important thing to talk about, which is, I'm very sensitive talking about this, but I'll address it just for this purpose of this podcast, which is the addiction towards pornography. A lot of children are going through that. Young people, you'll be so surprised what the age of young people are. The ages of, like 10, 12 years old. And imagine if that was your younger brothers. Imagine that was my younger brother. You know what I mean? How are you going to deal with that? Like the youth, they need someone to be there with them to understand their struggles and tell them, look, your tears are my tears. Your struggles are my struggles. Your pain is my pain. I'll be there with you alongside until the end. Whatever you can do is just give the youth, a sense of hope in their lives, because the future beholds on the youth, man. Today's youth are tomorrow's leaders. Like, for example, who is going to take upon after me when I'm gone, when I'm departed back to Allah Azza wa Jal? Who is going to continue the legacy of Islam? There are going to be people that will replace me. There will be people that replace you and me and everyone else. Islam continues whether you're not here, whether you're here. But it's just about you having that, understanding and level of Islam. That you must stay sincere in your intention and in your truth towards your identity as a Muslim and towards Allah Azza wa Jal, most importantly, as well. The other struggle is that what I see with the youth is that they lack in, salah and stuff like that. And what we can do for them is to, establish youth nights. That's the purpose of the Fitya Center, where I establish youth night, youth programs for them to come, and we teach them about the basics of Islam. If a youth comes up to me and tells me, I can pray only 2 times a day. Okay, you can pray 2 times a day. That's at least some barakah in his life. But also we want him to push towards the next 3 salahs. And then he can pray eventually 5 times a day. It all starts when you do a basic step in your life. That's when it starts, man.
So you mentioned before that you were struggling to pray once upon a time. What was, when you started praying, what was something that helped you stay grounded on your salah and like going up the scale in iman?
Yeah. So something
apart from
company. All right. So within understanding the concept of salah, it is towards praising Allah Azza wa Jal, that you glorify Him. It isn't for yourself to satisfy yourself. Salah is for Allah Azza wa Jal. It's the purpose for Allah. You know what I mean? Yes, you can feel a little sense of peace and tranquility that comes from salah, but the meaning is towards glorifying Allah Azza wa Jal, And me projecting salah within my journey was, anytime I was inflicted upon a hardship, I would always result it back towards praying, towards asking Allah for a way out, asking Allah for guidance. You know what I mean? Because Allah is the sorcerer of all guidance. Allah knows what's in your heart. Allah knows what your heart desires. But you need to come back to Him in repentance and in tawbah. So one ayah in the Quran that always comes up to my mind, bro, and that never leaves my mind. And may Allah be blessed with, the people that teach the Quran and always, try to spread the awareness of the Quran. Because Rasulullah Sallallahu says from the Quran that learn the Quran and teach it, Because when you learn the Quran, you don't just only learn, how to revise, but you learn the verses and you learn the meanings of it and what it can do and what it can change and bless people in their lives, and you just teach it. But there's one ayah in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. And man, this ayah always gives me goosebumps, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves by sinning, do not despair in the mercy of your Lord. Do not despair in the mercy of your Lord. Indeed, your Lord is the all forgiving, and indeed He is the one who forgives all sins. Wallahi al-azim, man, like anytime I feel my heart is at, is very hard and it's just like, very low, I always just open the Quran and reflect it towards the ayah. I just, honestly, I come back towards Allah. I rely upon Him only. Because, let's say, for example, you complain about your struggles towards your parents, or not parents, sorry. You complain about your struggles towards your friends, right? One day, your friends are going to turn their back on each other, on you as well. And then they're going to start exposing you about what you said and, all those things. But Allah Azza wa Jal, when you go to Him and you talk to Him and you tell Him your struggles and whatever it is, Allah is never going to turn His back on you. Never. Because He's the one who's the ever living. He is the one that is always there. Always. In times of hardship and in times of ease. Remember Him at the good times and in the bad times. And that's what led me towards projecting my salah. Always. Just being motivated towards taking that basic step, and then inshallah it becomes a continuous thing in your life.
Well, what would your advice be for those who are struggling to pray? Let's say 1, 2 salahs per day, but they're struggling. They're trying, but they're struggling. Just can't. They don't have the will. They don't have the motivation to pray. What would you say to those people?
Because salah's that thing that it's got to come from the inside. No matter how much someone forces you or someone pressures you from the outside, it's not going to happen unless you want it from yourself.
100%. Listen, I advise them honestly just to, keep trying. Keep trying. No matter how hard it is. No matter how big the struggle is. Keep trying, because Allah knows what's in your heart. He knows what you want. You think you know yourself more than other people. Allah knows you more than you know yourself. That's the true thing. So just start with basic steps, and then it will drastically grow. You know what I mean? Inshallah. Yeah. My stomach is grumbling.
If there's one name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you always go back to, what name of Allah is that?
There's many names, bro. Subhanallah. Sorry. There's many names.
One that resonates with you the most.
Yeah.
Subhanallah, man. Honestly, can I say 2 names, bro? Just 2? Or I'll say one.
You can. It can be names that go hand in hand.
He's Al-Fattah and he's Al-Ghafur Ar-Rahim. So, Al-Fattah, he's the opener of all doors, unexpected doors. And in your life, when you go through a lot of struggles and personal, things in your life, Allah Azza wa Jal opens doors for you that you could never even think of. That's the miracle of Allah Azza wa Jal, man. So when you have tawakkul in Allah and you trust in Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of all planners. That's something that always resonates to me, man. And the second one, Al-Ghafur Rahim, which is He's the all forgiving. It goes back to you, like, no matter how many sins you've committed, no matter how big your sin is, Allah will forgive it. Allah is the Al-Ghafur. He's the forgiver of all sins, inshallah. So yeah, pretty much, man, that's it.
Yes, it's subhanAllah, it's so powerful because just to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is most merciful, meaning if He's the most merciful and He cannot forgive a sin, then He's not. Like, for you to be the most merciful, anything that is under it can be forgiven, and nothing can be over it. No sin can be over it. No transgression can be over it, except shirk.
Of course. 100%.
So everything that's inside within, those transgressions other than shirk, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive, and as long as you're sincere, and as long as you haven't passed away or the sun hasn't risen from the west.
That's true.
So, like people, if you understand that, you know, nothing that you do, any mistake that you do, will not bring you back. It will actually bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know,
of course, 100%.
you know, it's that ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you do a sin and you forgive and you ask for forgiveness, not only will you be forgiven, but that sin will be turned into a good deed. So it's very, very powerful when you understand who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, what his attributes are. If you truly understand it, then nothing will set you back, no mistake will set you back. You only actually become closer, you know?
Of course, 100%.
So it's a very, very important concept to, you know, analyze and to understand.
Just before we quickly go to the next question, before we get to the next question, following it back to the youth, we want to make the haram harder. We want to make the haram harder and the halal easier for them. You know, that is our main objective for them. You know what I mean? Because we live in a society where there's a lot of fitna, bro. You know, subhanallah. Yeah.
It reminds me of that saying, you know, zina is cheaper than a can of Coke, and a marriage is more expensive than a car.
Of course.
So that's how society has made it, you know.
Yeah.
You doing zina is basically for free, where marriage for us is so hard nowadays because the standards, you know, are unrealistic. You know, you have to pay this much, you have to pay that much. You know, it has to be like this, it has to be like that. And what it will do to us, it will just deter us from, you know, getting married, doing it halal. You know, so it's what society has made it now, you know. Zina being cheaper than a can of Coke and marriage being more expensive than a, you know, car. So it's a very, very important thing to grasp.
Of course. It all ties back to even just social media, as we were talking about earlier. Social media, it's become such a platform where you open it, you see haram. Anything you do, scroll, haram. It's just, again, going back to it, the way we utilize our social media. Like, me growing up, never had social media. Even still today, I don't have social media. I use a flip phone. I don't have a phone. I use a flip phone.
That's amazing, bro.
I'm not joking.
Wow, man.
I've got it on me. I'll show you after.
That's so cool, bro.
But there's reasons behind it. Look,
of course.
My parents growing up, alhamdulillah, always like grateful to my parents. They've never made it felt like I'm missing out on anything. For example, they're like to me, if you want to have, you know, everyone's back in the days, Xbox was such a big thing. They got me the Wii instead of the Xbox.
The Wii,
Why the Wii? Why not the Xbox? Where you're sitting, Xbox, you're sitting down, just doing something with your hand like this. Whereas the Wii, you actually like moving around a bit more, a bit more physically active than just sitting down doing nothing.
That was fun, bro.
But more than that, they're telling me, they encouraged me to go outside. I used to cut the grass since I was like, what, 10?
10.
That was my enjoyment.
I started when I was 13, bro. 14.
But yeah, and then social media, I still don't have social media. The only thing I have Instagram is for the podcast, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, it just really depends on how we use things, bro.
Of course, bro. Of course, 100%. And like, this is also a message for the parents, is that you prepare your children for what they're going to see in society. But don't chain them, or don't, like, you know, lock them into saying, what they're going to be missing out. Because when you take them away from what's outside in the world, they're going to be so eager towards discovering what it is. Then they'll go towards that haram. You know what I mean? But then they will learn throughout their life that they come to a realization that, look, this is something I'm doing that is wrong, and I want to come back towards Allah Azza wa Jal. You know, prepare your children for what's outside. Protection will come from Allah, and that's it. You know,
Next on to the next topic.
Bit of a controversial one. Just a bit of a sensitive topic.
As you know, you are Palestinian.
No.
And it's a very sensitive topic. As it's your homeland.
Yes.
I just wanted to start with, have you been to Palestine before?
Yes, I have been 3-4 times. This was 4 years ago, bro. Yeah, subhanallah. It's alright. It's alright, man. So I've been there 4 years ago, and Bismillah. Man, that's alright, man. That's fine. Don't worry. So I've been there 4 years ago, subhanallah, and all I remember from there was seeing the lands and the farms of the olive trees that, you know, my grandpa, you know, planted and grew and patiently waited for them to grow. You know, subhanallah. And we know we can see what's happening in Palestine right now. We're all aware of it, you know. And to be honest, bro, I do miss my family a lot. Like, I want to see them. And subhanAllah, my grandma and my grandpa, they passed away. May Allah, grant them Jannat al-Firdaus. And may Allah reunite us with our loved ones in Jannah. So, looking at Palestine today, it is a way for us to amplify our voices for them, for their voices to be heard. And, on the media, we can see a lot of people attending protests and, amplifying their voices. Okay, I get that. I'm very, happy that you guys are, spreading the awareness of Palestine. But are you amplifying Palestinians' voices to be heard in the masajid, in prayer? Because didn't you know that victory comes from Allah alone? Victory comes from Allah alone. So why is it that when I go to Salat al-Isha at the mosque, I see there's only 3 lines? How come the masjid is not packed? It should be packed if you want to make dua towards Palestine. Because Allah is Mujib al-Da'wat. He is the one that will never reject the dua. He is the acceptance of the dua, So turn to Him in need of help. Turn to Him in need for victory for Palestine, And look, inshallah, I hope that everything will settle down in Palestine and become better, inshallah. And it's just, subhanallah, man, I don't know how to explain it. It's unimaginable to see what's happening. Babies being murdered, babies being slaughtered. And it's just it's so inhuman to see that, man. Wallahi al-Azim, yeah.
If there's one thing in Palestine as a memory that you would never forget, what will that memory be?
SubhanAllah, bro. I remember a few things from my childhood back in Palestine, bro, when I visited it. I think it would be the spending time with family and just creating those memories, bro. I've never been to Masjid al-Aqsa, by the way. Inshallah, one day I will.
Inshallah.
I think it would be walking through the farms of the olive trees, and just picking them and eating them and just feeling that sense of freedom over there to, work and live a valuable life, a life of devotion towards our Creator, and also strengthening the community and strengthening the bonds of our community, and just being around the tradition of Palestinians. Because us Palestinians, we are so, kind, we are so approaching, welcoming, and bro, I literally gave these boys gifts, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I'm very what's the word? Hospitality? Yani, what's
hospitable?
Yeah, whatever. yeah. So I'm very, kind and approaching and whatever, and I feel like seeing how Palestinians treat each other, that's the best of all memories, bro. You know what I mean? Seeing how they are around when they're with the community together. I think that's one of the most amazing memories. And being to one of the mosques in Palestine, bro, it's just it's beautiful, man. Seeing everyone together, bro. I feel like the community is what really establishes the unity of Muslims. Yeah.
What's something that you would say, or something that you wish people knew about Palestine, something that they don't really know much about, or something that's not really shown in the media?
Honestly, bro, within the media, what I want people to look at, you know what I mean, not at the image of the destruction and whatever's happening, but really is look at, the level of where Palestinians have that sense of, what's it called? How can I say it? Palestinians, when they have that sense of cultural traditions, you know what I mean? Where they're always together. I always keep saying that. We're always together. They cook together. They, have a lot of traditional events, So for example, there's weddings, there's Palestinian weddings and all that. And they wear traditional clothes. It's like we're exactly the same people. You guys have your traditions, we have our traditions. And but the thing that I want people to know is that Palestinians need to live a life of freedom. They must live a life of freedom, and they need that right. They deserve it because ever since 1948, as I'll speak about that, 1 million Palestinians have been displaced, scattered all around the world. And man, it's just crazy, to be honest, to see what's been happening. And even it's still happening till today, you know. And I just can't imagine. Like it's unexplainable, man. Honestly, you know. Even the whole concept of Palestine, it's driven me to understand more about my country, driven me to understand more about my identity as well. But it's towards amplifying those voices that are not heard. You know what I mean? If I answered that properly towards you guys, I hope you understand. Yeah, well, whatever.
What's mashallah, all the work you're doing is great.
Yeah.
And then the center that you're running, mashallah,
Yeah.
is doing really well. What's the legacy that you wish to leave behind so that the next generation could uphold and pass on to the generations to come?
Yeah. Look, simply to put it in this way, the legacy that I want to leave behind is a legacy for young Muslims to create their future, to build a sense of strength, a sense of resilience, and to be better people and to make the world a better place, you know. And the legacy that I wanted to continue was the legacy of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everyone's goal is to continue his legacy, where he spent 23 years in his prophethood of spreading the word of Islam. It's a mission for him, and what he went through, the struggles and the seerah of the Prophet is meant to radically change our lives. It is meant to change our lives, to understand the struggle, to understand what they went through, just to spread the word of Islam towards his nation. And look at the hardships that he went through, where Abu Jahl used to always, you know, try to frame him in front of the people. Oh, Ya Rasulullah, you are this, you are that. And what does Rasulullah respond to him? He's just, what's it called? Like, he's calm, he's patient. He doesn't respond to him in an anger way. And subhanAllah, within today's society, us youth, well, I'll be honest, you know, sometimes we lose our temper. We react towards being violent, being aggressive. And this isn't the right etiquette of a Muslim. This isn't the right, you know, manners of a Muslim as well, to uphold the characteristics of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is the legacy I want to leave behind. I want myself to be remembered by as a person that impacted the youth in their life, gave them a sense of hope, to tell them that, look, there's another chance in your life if you put everything aside, all the distractions, and mainly focus on towards the ibadah, towards Allah Azza wa Jal, and excelling in your life as well. Okay, because there's a lot of varieties and facilities that is open for the youth, a lot of knowledge facilities for them to, you know, educate themselves. But the question is, are they willing to do it? Or are they too lazy and procrastinating towards scrolling on media and, you know, just wasting time towards the garbage like that, man, to be honest. SubhanAllah. Yeah, that's it pretty much.
Yeah, and then as you were mentioning earlier, how the Palestinians hospital, that's something that we should all embed within ourselves. Like we have a lot to learn from every culture.
Of course, 100%.
That's something that not just as a Palestinian, but every Muslim should be hospitable, should be kind,
100%.
should be generous.
100%.
These are all characteristics of our Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you had one message that you would want to give to everyone, what would it be?
To be honest, one message is to spread hope towards others. Spread tranquility towards others. You know, give da'wah towards others about Islam. And honestly, man, it's just about what you uphold as yourself, what characteristics you uphold. That's what makes people lean towards discovering the beauty of Islam. So be a good person, be a good example for the youth, be a good example to benefit your community, because that's what it's important, bro. You know, subhanAllah. That's it pretty much.
Yeah, man. Bro, I appreciate you coming along. It was a good lesson for all of us, advice, you know, stories that we heard, you know, resonates with everyone, inshallah. Yeah, man. Jazakallah for coming.
Well, yeah, come anytime,
more than just content, bro. It's pure da'wah, man. Allah accept us and
Ameen, bro.
us all
Ameen.
barakah in everything we do.
Ameen.
And allow us to be like our Muhammad.
Ameen. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I will give you a little message as well. So wherever you are, even if you're in, let's say, for example, you're going to go buy something from a shopkeeper, for example, right? And let's say you pay what's it called, $20 to the shopkeeper for something that's $15, right? And he gave you extra change. What are you gonna do? I'm asking you both. What would you do? And he gave you extra change.
Give it back.
Okay, why?
Because it's wrong.
Why is it wrong?
It's cheating.
Because you didn't buy it for the value it's supposed to be.
It's the wrong answer. You know why? It's because our religion teaches us to be honest, to be trustworthy, and to uphold the values of integrity, as what our Prophet ﷺ upholds. That is a form of da'wah. People think that giving da'wah, you just have to have so much knowledge. I agree with that. Yes, you need to have some knowledge with what you're going to say. Because if you say the wrong thing, that can be upholding on you towards the day of judgment. You know what I mean? So simple things just like that is a form of da'wah. Not because you're a good person, you're going to give the change back. Tell them that's what my religion teaches me. That's why I gave it back to you, because I am a good Muslim. I uphold that as characteristics of the Prophet. You know,
it's funny
So-
you saying this
yeah.
because just yesterday I was on
Yeah.
placement.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go out for dinner with some of the boys, and then he's a bit of an early sleeper. He goes to sleep like straight after Aisha, and then he's like, "Can't you come early?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm on placement. You know, I have to finish 5:30. I have to be
Yeah,
there for
yeah.
a minimum of 3 hours per
Yeah,
session."
yeah,
And then he's like, "Can't you just get signed off earlier?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can.
Yeah.
But like, I'll be cheating the system.
Yeah.
That's being dishonest. You know, what
Yeah,
I mean? That's
yeah.
not what Islam teaches us. We have to be
course.
honest in everything we do."
That's true. That's true.
So I don't know. You just brought it back to me.
Jazakumullah khair, bro. See, Allah just guides you in that way, man. Subhanallah. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, bro.
Jazakallah
Well, yeah,
khair,
come,
Khamis.
boys.
Hope to see you in future
Inshallah.
episodes, inshallah.
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 Right.
That's a wrap up.